Hiya, still in the car. We're still on the way to Wales. We're going to do the player ratings, and I've taken on board some of what points you've said, and we're going to introduce the half point with some of these today. So 2-1 loss to Brighton. Tough match, close match, I think would be the fair sort of summarisation of it. We've shown some moments of promise, but ultimately we've come away with 0 points again, and it's a little bit disappointing. It'd been nice to go into the Liverpool game with a little bit of momentum. I think it was quite important, but ultimately we've been outdone by a last-minute winner by Brighton, so it is what it is. Here's the play ratings, and please let me know your thoughts on the ratings and also all the players as well in the comments. Now, Onana, I thought he had a decent game. He made a few decent saves and a good showing. His distribution was nice. 46 out of 50 passes, 92% pass accuracy. We also saw him hitting some nice, long, very accurate over-the-top ones, unleashing Ahmad. More of that, please. I think we get more of that out of Andre Onana, and I think we get a much more potent and sort of effective United in the final third. I don't think he could have done much about either of the two Brighton goals, especially the winner. But I think his overall performance was solid, and I think he kept United in the game when Brighton were putting us under a fair bit of pressure. Mazraoui, second game for him. Got the assist for Diallo's equaliser. Generally solid in his defensive duties. Completed 29 out of 34 passes. Made 2 tackles. However, was partly at fault for Danny Welbeck's opener, where arguably he wasn't in the greatest of positions, or he wasn't able to stop the cross, which is like the primary function of a fullback in that sort of situation, isn't it? So he'll probably be disappointed with not being able to get on that. His contribution going forward was valuable. Sometimes getting into the final third, but very often sort of sits just behind Ahmad and looks to be an option to rotate in there. I like what he brought, and I like what he's bringing to the role of right back at United. I think he's been a fantastic addition. 7 out of 10. I don't know if I said Onana's. 7 out of 10 for Onana as well, if in case I missed that one. Harry Maguire. Now I think Maguire had a mixed performance. Again, I think he was partially to blame. Him and Mazraoui got to do better for that goal, the way that's gone in. Only partially to blame. Slight poor position or slight flat-footed, but he's got to do a little bit better, I think, there. I think that's fair to say. I don't think that's being too harsh on him. Now, with the ball, I thought he was decent. 40 out of 44 passes, not looking to progress it super often. You are seeing him generally look to Lisandro Martinez to do that, and also to Mazraoui, but he doesn't seem to like passing to Mazraoui for some reason. All of his passes seem to want to go towards the left, don't they? Have anyone noticed that? He won 2 out of 3 duels, but I think his overall display was a slight bit underwhelming. It was all right, wasn't it? But it was a little bit on the underwhelming side from him. So 5.5 out of 10. Lisandro Martinez, usually extremely reliable, and his passing was brilliant. 71 out of 74 passes. We played out fantastic with him, and actually with Maguire at the same time as well, and Onana, and Dalot, and Mazraoui. Like, United are starting to become get that out of the way. United are starting to become a team that can be relied on to progress the ball from the goalkeeper at a goal kick. That's a massive positive for this team at the moment. But I think he was less commanding than usual. I think he wasn't as domineering as he has been, and the passes that he dropped seemed to be like not the greatest of places to drop a pass either as well. His defensive awareness seemed off. Might be a match rhythm thing, you know, just getting back into the rhythm of playing in the Prem and that. But he did also contribute to a little bit of the vulnerability that we saw at the back. So same as Maguire, 5.5 out of 10 for Martinez. Dalot. I'm almost tempted to give Dalot man of the match, to be honest, and he might actually get man of the match. Now, certainly one of the better performers, whether he's man of the match or not, especially in the first half. Created United's most dangerous chance with an absolutely flawless cross to the back post, which Ahmad, maybe if he's a little bit more patient with, can arrive at a little bit of a better time and actually do something a tiny bit better with it. partially at fault for the winner because he was caught napping, but his overall contribution was largely positive and probably one of the most positive of anybody in the team. So, also 90% pass accuracy as well, 55 out of 61 passes. So I'm gonna give him 7.5 out of 10, which might be enough for man of the match. I mean, let me know. What do you guys think? Casemiro, I thought he started strong, and I think he's sort of adding a lot of credence to the... We're on the motorway. He's going to keep meandering like that, and I'm going to keep having to move it to keep my big fat napper in the way of the sun so it doesn't blind us. He started strong and then faded, adding a lot of credence to the sort of idea that, you know, many of us have had, which is Casemiro plays an hour and then brings somebody else on. And maybe that's how Ugarte is going to start getting bred into this team, if you like. Casemiro starts and Ugarte finishes the games off. That might be a thing for 4 or 5 weeks until he gets used to the speed of the Premier League. Involved in 5 tackles, won 6 out of 8 duels, looked less influential as the game kind of dragged on a little bit, and maybe as the likes of McTominay came on and we lost Bruno, maybe that contributed to it a little bit. His passing was decent, especially because he's one that's tasked with progressing it forward. He's a little bit less safe than everyone else, but 40 out of 49, 82% pass accuracy. Wasn't solid, but he wasn't able to fully dominate midfield. United dominated possession, but it was tight, wasn't it? I mean, it was a close game at the end of the day. It was tight. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Menu, decent again. 40 out of 44 passes, loves to take the ball under pressure, fantastic at taking the ball under pressure, better than anybody his age and a lot of people that have ever played the game at being able to take the ball under pressure. Heavily involved in duels. He won 8 out of 16, but it was busy for him. One of the few United players who consistently try to push the team forward. I thought the performance was promising. Again, there's sometimes some touches, especially when he does that little Iniesta thing where he moves it from his right foot to his left or his left to his right and just escapes pressure a little bit. You think, wow, you know, he's a genuine artist at the game, and you know, it didn't translate into a win. It was another promising performance. So, but I think just under the low in terms of like X factor. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Bruno, less involved than he usually was, higher than he usually was as well, to be honest, and obviously substituted. 30 out of 39 passes, 77% accuracy. Influence on the game, probably slightly limited. And I think he struggled to really create a meaningful chance. He's gonna have to improve. Like, maybe I was a little bit harsh on him last week against Fulham. I think he was probably a little bit better, but there's got to be some end product. Like, United are hurting for goals at the moment. Marcus has to step up, Ahmad has to step up, I know he scored, and you know, Garnacho has to step up. That the entire team has to step up. Bruno especially, because he brings chances to the team and he isn't creating chances at the moment for us. So that could be learning how to play alongside Mount in this kind of dueling nines sort of role. But we need chances out of him. So not shit, but pretty ordinary, and I think that warrants like a 6 out of 10. Diallo, one of the brighter spots, I would say. Scored the equaliser, did look dangerous, probably even more so as the game progressed. 32 out of 41 passes, involved in 9 duels, but only won 3 of them. His performance shown glimpses, but I don't know if he's, and I mentioned this in 5 things, I don't know if he's fully like owning the opportunity and like locking everybody out of getting an opportunity. Like, he's doing enough to keep starting in that position for sure. He's not, no one else is taking that spot off him for definite, but you might see him start getting substituted in games. He's got to be able to start delivering goals and assists on a consistent basis, the same as Bruno. But he is still getting to grips with being like first choice Premier League player, so give him a little bit of leeway for that, and therefore a 6.5 out of 10. Mount. So I thought Mount was very impressive in the first half, both in passing with 14 out of 15 passes, can't argue that, 93% accuracy, and his work rate. it was almost crackhead energy from him and Bruno at times, just chasing after everything, and it created opportunities. It forced errors from Brighton, and that's what United want to do. And I think that was the contrast between us playing out and Brighton playing out. Like, we weren't in any threat, and Brighton's press is good, man, but United's press was probably just a touch better. So bottom line, I think 7.5 for Mason Mount. I don't think he gets the man of the match shout, obviously, because he got the hook. So I think just under the low, but really effective, real positive contributions, and probably feel a little bit hard done by that. He was the one that had to make way. Marcus Rashford. Now, all the comments on the preview were dominated by Marcus Rashford, and I still think what I said was correct. His decision making is still quite strong. I think he didn't take any opportunities to push on. I thought he slowed our attack down at times. He was still getting into some good opportunities, but he's got to be able to produce. The same like I said for Ahmad, and the same like I'll say for Bruno. Marcus has to produce when he gets into these areas. Now, I don't think it's an immovable position that he starts at the moment. He may not start against Liverpool. He may be the right thing against Trent down that side. I thought he's shown decent defensive work rate, but it wasn't productive enough from him. He's got to be able to start delivering chances and taking chances. That's the only way he's going to keep his place. Otherwise, you know, when Garnacho's coming on, and yes, he got a goal ruled out, but when Garnacho's coming on, Garnacho's doing those things. And even though I think part of the reason why Garnacho is doing those things is because he's coming off the bench rather than starting, and I think the energy that he delivers off the bench is such an asset that it makes sense in a big way why you have Garnacho coming off the bench. At some point, that's going to flip, and he's going to just start Garnacho and bench Marcus Rashford. Now, in terms of rating, I think he's got to be a 4 out of 10. And he is going to have to improve. I think it was a little bit disappointing. He won 2 out of 5 duels, 13 out of 18 passes, 72% pass accuracy. Just didn't really have any impact in the final third, and I think that marks it out as being probably a disappointing performance from him today. In terms of the subs, Joshua Zirkzee, pretty frustrating out him, because obviously you want him to have some impact, and the impact he ended up having is like an accidental disallowing of our goal. 6 out of 8 passes, it's not a lot obviously, but involved in 5 duels, won 3. It was solid without being spectacular, and ultimately you want to get him on the end of stuff, and you want to use the assets that he's got, hold the ball up, link play for others, and then get in the box and finish something off. So solid, but not great. 6 out of 10. Garnacho, again, lively, desperately unlucky not to score. The disallowed goal ruled offside by Zirkzee. Decent contribution to the link-up play, 11 out of 14 passes. As always, brings energy, brings determination, and he brought a little bit of a difference in terms of tempo and sort of attitude to play. 7 out of 10, I think would be fair for Garnacho. Overall, 52% possession for United. XG was 1.41 to Brighton's 2.12. So on one hand, you kind of go 2-1 might have been quite a fair result in the end. I think a draw probably would have been. I think United were worth that. We both didn't have anywhere near enough shots on target. You know, they had a few sighters, 14 shots for them, 11 shots for us. We've got to be more clinical, and we've got to be a little bit better with that final ball, and I wonder if that's where a striker comes in and really adds something to that. Otherwise, it's just a disappointing day, isn't it, really? Because you don't want to be coming away from a game with no points. Manager score, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, just okay. Just okay, wasn't it? The questionable sub with Bruno, questionable sub with Mount. You know, one of them, I guess. See you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.